So these are the candlestick patterns that we normally look for around the bases that we discussed earlier on our classes that we've had before, where we were discussing rally base drop, drop base rally, rally base rally, and drop base drop. So these candlestick patterns are very, very important. So you really need to make sure that you know them. How do they look? It's very important to know them. How do they look? And we only look for them around our bases. So what can happen is that it might happen that you have discovered your rally base drop, or you've discovered your drop base drop, or which other base that we've learned before. However, around that base, you really need to make sure that you identify these kinds of candlesticks patterns. It's the engulfing patterns. So some call them the PE, like PE, bearish engulfing, bullish engulfing. So terms do not really matter. What matters is how do they look, their structure. Okay, so let's get on with them. So here we've got 3 types that we're going to look at. These are the main types that we're going to be looking at. Okay, these are the main types that we're going to be looking at. We've got 3 types of the engulfing patterns. So this is type 1. So it's the PE type 1. So this is the PE type 1, bearish engulfing type 1. Okay. And then this is the PE type 2. PE type 2. And lastly, we've got the PE type 3. PE type 3. Type 3. Okay, so for now, let's discuss the type 1, the first type, which is this one. So first we'll discuss how does it look. So on the bearish engulfing type 1, we normally get this around our drop base drop or our rally base drop, right at the top on the base, right on the base, around the base. You need to make sure that you look for this kind of candlestick patterns. So this is where you get your what? Your entries. Okay, this is where you get your entries. This is how you map your entries. Okay, so with the type 1, what you normally do is that on this line here, you see by the wicks, that is where you normally take your trade. This is where you normally take your trade. One moment. All right, thank you. So this is where you normally take your trade. So let us just assume that this is your rally. So I'm just going to roughly draw it. Base. This is your base, and then this is your drop. Okay, so when you locate this around your base, when you locate this pattern around your base, so what you will do, so it is very important that you make sure that the red candle that engulfed this blue candle, the wick of the red candle, you need to make sure that it's longer than the blue candle. That is very, very important. Okay, it's very, very important that you make sure that it is longer. Okay, make sure that it is longer. And then for your entry level, you will place your entry line or your horizontal line on the wick of this blue candle. Okay, the short wick. That's where you place your what? Your horizontal line, or that's where you will have your sell limits. Okay, so like when price comes back for the first time around the base, this is what will happen. Remember, we on our previous session, we discussed the price approach. So let's say you've double checked all that and you've got that bearish engulfing pattern, and it is as you are studying it now. Okay, nothing more. So like, make sure that you don't just take simply because you see this red candle, big red candle. But if this wick of the blue candle is longer than the red candle wick, then that is not the bearish engulfing type 1. Okay. However, I am not saying, or I'm not concluding that price will not turn from there. However, chances of that engulfing failing are very, very high. Okay. But if you've got like a proper one like this one that I'm teaching you now, and you've confirmed everything, your price approach and everything, then you place your sell limits here. So let me label here. This is where you'll have your sell limits. Sell limits. So this is where you'll have your sell limits. Okay. So as you can see, price is coming towards your entry point. And the moment it reaches here, you got your entry. That's where you sell, or that's where you have your sell orders being fulfilled. Okay. So when you have discovered this, this is where you will normally have your stops here on top of the wicks. So this is how you get your low risk, high reward entries. Okay. You shouldn't compromise your stop loss. Okay, because there will always be the next trade. So once you locate this, like right on top of your base, and then you locate this bearish engulfing as it is here, this is where you normally have your stops. Or you can put it like 30 pips above the red wick. Okay, the last wick of this bearish engulfing. You can place it maybe like 30 pips above. 30 or 40 pips, but nothing more than that. That's how you should scale your stop loss. If it's more than that, then that will depend on how much you've got in your balance and all. But preferably, it will be 30 pips stop loss. Actually, it's 30 pips stop loss. Nothing more than that. 30 pips or less. So you'll have your stops maybe like here. So these are stops. Okay, one moment. Stop loss. That's why you have the stop loss. Okay, so this is how you take your sells. So this is where you would sell in this instance. Okay, so this is how the bearish engulfing type 1 looks like. This is how it looks like. This is how it looks like. The red candle wick is longer than the blue candle wick, and on the shorter wick, that's where you have your entries. That's where you'll have your entries. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All right, or let's just have a chart example so that we can wrap up quickly. We'll check the chart examples. Let me share my screen, my chart screen. Mhm. Okay, I believe you can now see my screen. Can you please confirm? Can you see my charts? On my side it's showing, so I believe it's also showing on your side. Okay, Andile, I see that you've got like a question. If you got any question, I see you raise your hand. I'll just allow you to speak. Both of you guys, I can see you've raised your hands. Or maybe we can take questions at the end of the session, please. For now, let's just continue. Let's just continue for now. Okay, so let us look for the Parrish engulfing type 1 and how did it work out. So for instance here, you wouldn't say this is the Parrish engulfing type 1. It's not. Because why? The blue candle has a longer wick compared to the red candle, whereas we need it to be vice versa. Okay, so you cannot call this the Parrish engulfing type 1. It's not. Okay, let's continue and look for it. And another thing is I'm always emphasizing that not everything will look exactly as it is on the diagrams. So, for instance, the bodies of the candles. Sometimes you'll have a cross-like candle, like a blue candle. There is a cross. It's called a doji. Sometimes you'll have that type of a candle. Then you have a big one, a big red candle. That is also still a Parrish engulfing type 1. As long as the wicks are as proper as I've taught you guys. Let me check. I think I saw one here. So as time goes on, with full understanding, you will gain confidence, whereby you will see a Parrish engulfing like pattern around your base. Then you'll be confident enough to take it. However, for now, I would advise that we stick with these three only for now, up until you're confident enough, because there are some types that look like these types that we've got on the diagrams, and we see them holding the price. Like this one, you can see it held the price, but the wicks, they are not as how I'm teaching you guys. They're not. So up until you gain confidence, then you'll be able to take such engulfings. But for now, I wouldn't recommend it. Remember, we're still applying the very same method. Like this here. Okay, we had one here. We had one here. So this was going to be a zone. So if we're scaling 30 pips, let's scale 30 pips stop loss. This was going to be your stop. The stops were going to be around here. So I'm going to go a little bit higher. Exactly, this is 30 pips. So if you had your entry here, you can see this is the Persian engulfing type 1. If you double check the wicks, everything is as shown on the diagrams. So this is our type 1. We see price coming back. As you can see also here, you see price was slowing down as it was reaching your sell zone. Can you see the bodies of the candles? We're getting shorter and shorter, and it was spiking. It was giving us more spikes, more spikes, more spikes. And then all of a sudden, it triggered, and then price fell. So this is BE type 1. I'll also do the screenshots and send it to you guys. B type 1. Let's look for more. And you always need to make sure that the red candle body is longer than the blue candle body. Even when it comes to bodies, like the candle must be engulfed. The bodies, not the wicks, but the bodies. So let's check how did this go. Okay, this would have hit our stops. This one here. It would have hit our stops. As you can see. So this is also something that you'll never run away from. In Forex, you'll always, not like you'll always, but you need to know that your stops will get hit sometimes. Not that maybe whatever that you are using is not working. It's part of the game. Okay, let us check for more. Yeah, this thing is moving fast. I don't know why. Okay, so and remember, guys, we always look for these patterns around our bases, not like we trade them wherever we see them. No, around our bases, be it it's rally base drop or drop base drop or drop base rally or rally base rally. So for the buying mode, it's just a vice versa. So when you're looking for buys, you just know that okay, it will be the red candle being engulfed by a long blue candle. Same method applies. Same method applies. The wicks, the blue candle wick must be longer than the red candle wick when you're looking for buys around your demand zones. Around your demand zones. Okay, we've got one here. We've got one here. Thirty pips stop loss. Let's see how it went. A little bit lower. Yes, that's our 30 pips. Is our 30 pips. So as you can see, price came back for the first time, and here I'm picking up. I think this was a 3 drive, some sort of a 3 drive. 1, 2, 3. Then price dropped, even though then afterwards it manipulated. This is H4, so maybe you would have used this base here. You would have used this base here as your what? As your take profit. This base here. So as I've said, the technique that you use for your entries, you use the very same technique for your take profits. That's how you can scale your take profits 1, take profit 2. That's how you can scale it, okay? As you can see, the wicks here in the bodies, you can see that the red candle engulfed the blue candle body. Alrighty. And yeah, what's happening here? Okay. So this is PE type 1. We need to focus on this. They are very, very important. So this here will enhance your entries. So now we are at the stage whereby we look into how to get like the enhanced entries, because earlier, at the earlier stage we were just picking the entire base and we couldn't like PE type 1, we couldn't get like a proper entry level. So with this being applied, this is where you get what? A proper entry level. A proper entry level by simply using these. Let's look for the last one. This did not trigger. So regarding this one, I wouldn't really recommend, because you can see that these are almost equivalent. Like, you need to see like a proper difference between the wicks. You see these are almost equivalent. So I wouldn't recommend that you go for this type of Persian engulfing. Yes, I know that this is longer than the red wick is longer than the blue one, but I wouldn't recommend that you take it, because like they are almost equal. So I wouldn't recommend that you take them. So you really need to see the difference between the candlesticks wicks, the red and the blue. Okay, let's check on the other side. So just gonna look for the last example, then we move to the next type, the second type. Okay, I know one would ask, what if I get this? What if I get this around my supply zone? I can vouch for this one. I would say you can go for it. And you can simply have your entries where you can just place it on the body of the blue candle, right on top of the body. I understand that there is no wick on the blue candle, but you can see how accurate this looks. So you can go for this one if you find it around your places. If it looks like this, then you can take it. Let me screenshot it so that you guys remember. So you can go for this one. So this is also P type 1. As you can see that the only difference is that there are no wicks. The only difference, there are no wicks. There's no wick on the blue candle. But the red candle is proper, like you can see it's a full candle and the wick is much longer. This looks very good also. However, it was spiked up. It was spiked up. And you can clearly see why was it manipulated. So this is the very same reason why I'm saying whenever you're looking for this type of engulfings, you just gotta make sure that they're around your supply zones or your rally pace drops. You just gotta make sure you don't just take them whenever you see them, wherever you see them. So just make sure that they are around your supply zones. So here, this is the main supply. So this is where I would recommend that you look for it. Here. Here. So as it is here, I wouldn't recommend that you take it. It's very important because like they can be tempted because you'll find that bearish engulfing and it looks so good, everything is there, but problem is it's not on the supply zone or it's not around your proper base, and then you go for it and then you get stopped out, and that's where your self-esteem, or that's where you begin not to trust him or whatsoever. So you really need to make sure that they are around your supply zones or your demand zones, depending on which trade you want to take. Let me check this. Exactly, this is a perfect example of what I was saying. Remember when I said sometimes you'll find a cross-like candle. So this is the kind. So this is the body, right? And you can see that the red candle body engulfed the blue candle body, and the wicks are in equivalent. Okay, so this would be a zone. And this is a rally base, then drop. See, when price came back for the first time, it triggered. And where your stops, 30 pips above. So if you entered here, this is where you'd have your 30 pips around here. So it was a safe trade that was successful. Can you see that move? And let me tell you something. You see, once your bearish engulfing type 1 has this dodgy like candle, most likely those bearish engulfings, they push the price in a high momentum. If you find ones like this, like the dodgy candle like this, once the price reaches your selling point, price just drops massively because of this dodgy candle. So you shouldn't sleep on these when you see them around your bases. Let me take a screenshot here, then move to the second type. I don't want to make these videos like long and boring. So here's a screenshot. This is also PE type 1. Okay, back to our diagrams. Now let's look at that bearish engulfing type 2. So we'll be looking at the second type now. How does it look? And we check it in the charts. So this is what? This is the bearish engulfing type 2. Sorry about that. So this is the bearish engulfing type 2. I'm in class, sorry. This is the bearish engulfing type 2. So with this bearish engulfing type 2, you will have these two red candles. Okay, it's the two red candles like this. Also here, the wicks are in equivalent. Okay, the wicks are in equivalent, and regarding the bodies, you will find this you will find this small red candle wick, and you will have the body here. Sometimes it will also be like a dodgy, like a cross candlestick, like maybe with a tiny body, and then it has wicks like a spin top or a cross. You will find it. You will have it like this, and then the next candle will have a longer wick. It will have a longer wick compared to the previous one, and then you'll find the body being created right at the bottom, continuing going down. Okay, so when price comes back for the first time also, and again, this is your base. Sorry. This is your base, and then this is your drop. And then around your base you find this type of a candlestick. Okay, this bearish engulfing type 2. Okay, you will have your entry line here on the shorter wick between these two red candles. This is where you will have your what? This is where you will have your entry line or your sell limits. This is where you place your sell limits. Stop loss, same rule. 30 pips above the longer wick. Okay. You will have a longer wick, so your stop loss will be 30 pips above. I'm in class. 30 pips above. Okay. So what you do when price comes back for the first time, let us assume it comes back in a 3 drive price approach. 1, 2, and then a third drive right at the entry point. So it's 1, 2, 3. So you see all the things that we are studying, all the things that we are studying are complementing each other. So there is nothing that you'd say you will say it doesn't go with this one. So they are complementing. So you need to make sure that you understand the entire concept. So when you have your base, you don't just go for that base. There are a lot of things that you need to check for before taking the trade. So this is where your sell limits get triggered, and then price sells right at the shorter wick. That is very important. That is very, very important. So let's call a live chart and check for examples. Okay, all my charts, here my charts. Okay. My screencast doesn't go through now. One moment. Can you see my screen, my charts? Andile, can you see my charts? I'm trying to share my screen. I don't know if it's appearing that side. Keeps on giving me an error. Can you see my charts, Andy?
Yes, yes, I can see your chart now.
Okay, okay. Thank you for your feedback. Let's continue.
Okay.
Okay, let's continue to the charts. Let's check another P. Let's see how's USD CAD. Mm-mm-mm. Finishing off in type 2. So even if we're looking for this, we also look for them around our supply zones or demand zones. Same thing applies. For the buying mode, it's vice versa. So here, when we're looking for sales, it's two red candles. So when we're looking for buys, it will be two blue candles on your demand zones. I think I saw one. Where did I see this? Check the USD. So with the British engulfing type 2, this is a very powerful British engulfing. It's very, very powerful. Once you spot it, what like I would give it like a 90% winning rate. Once you spot it, something like this here. Here it is. Once you spot this, I'm not saying it doesn't fade, but you 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 hardly lose on this one. And usually it gives low risk trades. Usually. Okay, this is not on the supply zone. As you can see, when you spot one and it's not like on a proper supply zone, you will see that it has failed. So it's very important to find them around your supply zones. Like this one, when you're zooming in like this, you'd say, no, it's a proper supply zone. Only to find out when you're zooming out. It's not. It's actually not. Hmm. So even if you find your Persian offerings, make sure that you double check your zones properly before going for them. prediction engulfing type 2. And they are very rare. I won't lie to you, they are very rare. That is why when you find them, they work wonders. They are very rare to find. Yeah, I think it's in the decade. What is it? Here? So I'm just double checking. Just going to do one example on this one. And I'll combine other examples after the class. And I still need to send those for the prize approach because I never sent them. And these pressure engulfing types, you can find them on any instrument. It's indices, synthetics, they work everywhere. In fact, anything in supply and demand, anything that has to do with supply and demand, it works everywhere. So, okay, this one missed by few pips, few pips. Oh, it held and went away. So another trick when you're looking for entries and you notice that around your supply zone or your demand zone they are like long weeks. Let's say maybe you are on 4 hour time frame. Just mark the entire week. Then do a top down analysis like go to 1 hour, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Like you see that there are candles around that week. And you mark those candlesticks. Like maybe you would find a beautiful prediction engulfing on the lower time frames. Then you just mark the week. Only to find out when somebody sees you on maybe your charts, why did you go for the week? Then you tell them that no, this demand zone or this supply zone, you enhance your entries on the lower time frames. Because a week like this is not just a week on lower time frames. There are candlesticks here, like proper like formations. So when you do the top-down analysis, like maybe when you mark in here, let's say this is around your demand, your supply zone, you mark here. If you go to the lower time frames, there are candlesticks here. You might pick up one of these types that you are discussing, and then you mark them. Then you have your entries. You have your sharp entries. That's how I normally do it. This is also hard to find. So hard to Okay, here it is. Perishing off in Mera Mera. That's how they call it in Malaysian. Mera Mera. It means like red, red, because it's two red candles. With this one, you'll never miss. As I've said earlier on, like I can give it like 90% if you spot it like on a proper pace. I can give it 90%. Like here. If you take note of the wicks, you can see this is a shorter wick compared to the other one. This is your entry point. And your stop is 30 pips above. So this is where you have your stops. So in this instance, they would have been a bit tight, maybe around here. Exactly around here. Right on top of the wick. This is where you have your stop. Very low risk. You entry here. So this is PE type 2. Perishing off in type 2. Here. As I've said, these are not very easy to find, but when you spot them, most likely they don't fade. They hardly fade. I'm not saying they're 100%, but they hardly fade. Here's another one. But I think this would have missed it by few pips. So like if you're a person who likes sharp entries with like zero floats, you can use the wicks. Okay. But for like normal entries, or maybe if you are afraid that they will leave your orders, you can place your entry line in between the two candles like this. There is another option. But the best one for sniper entries, it's the wicks. That's for sniper entries when you're using this type of operation offering. As you can see, we would have missed by a few pips. That's one disadvantage with sniper entries. Sometimes they'll just leave your orders and they go without you. They just leave. PE type 2. Screenshot. Let's try to look for the last one. Then we move to our last variation engulfing type. So I'll let you guys ask some questions if you've got any before we end the session. I wouldn't recommend this. The wicks here are almost equivalent. So you need to see a bit more difference between the wicks. So I wouldn't recommend that one. I think we also need to introduce the market structure lesson. We really need to introduce that one in order to add as an assistant when we're looking for direction. It's very important also. I just forgot to put it on the topics that you're going to discuss. Okay, if we do not find it here, then we can move on because we've got some examples. Then later on the day tomorrow, I can send more with some notes. There's also a video that I'm going to recommend you guys watch on YouTube. It is also informative. Imagine getting this type 2 on daily time frames because it always snipes, always. Once you get it, it will just snipe most of the time. Okay, I think we should move on to our third example. Okay, so with variation engulfing type 3, so you just find price column. Okay, let's see. Column like this. Okay, and then price does the first time back. Let's just say maybe it's accumulating. It's taking on top of one supply to the other. The minus supplies, then it triggers your sell limits, then it falls. So with the type 3, you will normally have just small candles, like it can be blue, red, or just the same color, but they are very tiny. And if you notice, they create a certain support level. Okay, like they just spike on the same level. If they do not spike, but the bodies will be on the same level like this, and then all of a sudden you'll find this big red candle engulfing all of these 3 or more. Okay, so it should be like 3 or more candlesticks, right? For type 3, this is type 3, 3 or more candlesticks. Then you find this one big red candle dropping and engulfing all these 3 or more. Sometimes it can be 2, but I prefer that you've got 3. Like you've got them creating a certain support level here on the very same level. Like they keep on spiking here. If they're not spiking, the bodies are aligning on the same level. Then you have this one big red candle engulfing. So on that very same level, that will be your entry line. That's where you place your sell limits. That's where price most likely comes and then turns. Okay, when it comes to bearish engulfing type 3. So let's just quickly check on the charts for type number 3. Can you guys see my charts now? Okay. Okay, I can see that we've got the charts on. Okay, so let's look for this type number 3, bearish engulfing type number 3. Just small candles on the same level. Then we have this one big candle engulfing them all. Same thing applies. You look for these around your supply zones or your demand zones. Nothing more, nothing less. And this is actually very easy to spot, because once you notice those 3 or more candlesticks and then one big candle engulfing them, it's very easy to spot. But it's very important that you have the candlesticks on the same level, like the small ones. They must be on the same level. Same level. think we've got this type on this deck. Yes. Like this here. Can you see here? Then this can be a zone. Can you see how small these candles are compared to this one? And this is actually still going to be triggered. So I might say because this is already a base, and a drop. And then price is currently trying to do the first time back to that level. So on that level, we'll be looking to sell Candlestick. As simple as that. But and I've noticed that Candlestick gives more of this type. That's what I've picked up with Candlestick. Like it gives this now and then. Type number 3. Now and then. Just now we'll see one. But you can see when Candlestick drops, like it will just give small candles, and then drops massively when it drops. Even if it buys, it does the same thing. So whoever trades Candlestick can really look to study more on the type number 3 on bearish engulfings, because usually we get them here. Even here, this was a buy. You can see these small candles. They're all aligning on the same level. Candlestick is the best like index that gives this type of bearish engulfing. It's P number 3, P type 3. Bearish engulfing type number 3. Screenshot that. Type number 3. Send it to you guys. As I've said, take note of Candlestick. Candlestick gives a lot of these. We are almost done, guys. Just a few examples in this, and then I can let you ask some questions if you've got one. If you don't want to ask here, you can just text me and ask me. I'll try by all means to get back to you. I will try by all means. me change the time frame. Oh, I saw one. See like this here. Look at this level and look at those small candles. Can you see? As I've said before, that not everything will always be accurate as it seems in the diagrams. So this is a very perfect example of type number 3 again. As I've said, Candlestick gives a lot of these. So we might look for a pi when it gets here. P type 3. Let's check for another one. But there are not so many there. Here's another one. But I think they did not trigger here. You just gotta take note of the level. Can you see this level? See how the candles are aligning here and how small the bodies are compared to the red candle. And this missed by a few pips. So bearish engulfing type number 1 and type number 3, I can conclude and say they are almost the same, but the difference is that on type 3 you just gotta look for 2 or more small candles that are aligning on the same level, while on type 1 you just look for one blue candle and you take note of the wicks and the bodies if it has been engulfed or not. So there is a difference between the two. Okay, let's look for one last more example, then we can wrap up. I'm sure you've observed that there are many of this type on Candlestick. However, some have been missed. But it's the index that I've noticed that it gives a lot of these. Gives a lot of these. One last example, then we're done. So here it is. Our last example. See how these candles are falling in line with each other. Then we got this triggered. There's also busy perishing engulfing type 3. I think the only catch is to identify. It's very important on type 3. Identify these small candles. These candles here. These are the candlesticks that I'm talking about. And make sure that your base is valid. You apply all the techniques like basis versus time, price approach, all of that. Then you can take your trade. PE type 3. Okay, so these are the types of bearish engulfings. So these engulfings, as I've said, we look for them around the bases. Supply and demand basis that we studied earlier on this call. So you look for these candlestick patterns around those bases. You only look for them around the bases. So I said earlier on, they enhance your entries. So you don't have to now mark all like the entire base, but you just gotta around the base. You just gotta look for these type of bearish engulfings or bullish engulfings, depending if you want to buy or sell. But these are the 3 types that you need to check for, and if you apply them correctly and making sure that they complement with the other techniques that we have learned here, price approach, basis versus time, you apply all of those things, then you'll have maybe 80% win rate, or maybe between 70 to 80% win rate if you apply this correctly. I don't know if is there any of you guys who has a question or a suggestion before I close the class. If not, then I will just post the pre-recorded session on our group. Then I will wait for you guys. If you've got any questions, hop into my inbox and then you can inbox me. I'll try by all means to get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you very much for joining the class. Have yourselves a lovely night.